So good morning, my name is Laurie Hoffman and I am the program manager with Literacy DuPage. And a little bit of background about myself. I've been in adult education since 2005. I taught ESL, or English as a Second Language, ELL, sometimes it's referred to English language learners, English language acquisition. And I also taught adult basic education for several years until I came over to Literacy DuPage, but I also volunteered. I started volunteering in 2005. And what brought me to volunteering is I saw a flyer. Change a life, become a volunteer. And so I called and it did change my life. I have met people from all over the world, some of them that I have maintained friendships with, worked with women from Japan, Iran, Turkey, and I learned so much about them. I will tell you that we are primarily grant funded by the Secretary of State. So some of the literacy programs that you'll see in the city of Chicago, they are native born literacy learners. So it's just primarily in the suburban area that they are second language learners, but we do give a handful in our program that are native speakers as well. So at that, I am going to hand you over to my colleague, Noreen Fitzgerald. She's our meet and greet presenter, and she will provide some more information about our program, our training, what's to be expected, and then we'll have some time for Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks, Laurie. Appreciate it. Again, welcome everyone in person or online. And let me just get started. Calling to volunteer. Oh, Laurie, typo. I'm sorry. We have to have a little laugh. Why was I looking for an opportunity to volunteer? Like so many people, actually in my 20s, I did volunteer work. And then life gets in the way. And I had a job that went downtown from the suburbs. And then I started traveling on business. And it didn't work, just did not work no matter what I tried. And then I went back to school. So that was just, way too much. So before I retired, I'm like, oh, I want something to do. And I have been very fortunate. And I wanted to be able to give back in some way to the community. So I was using our friend Google online. And I just happened to find out about Literacy DuPage. I'm sure I've heard it over the years, but didn't remember it. And I looked into it. I love to read. And I thought, well, this would be a good match. I could help people with English. I will tell you, I taught software technology. I did not go to school to teach in education. My degree was in business. So I did have experience teaching, but that was very self-taught. So I hooked up with Literacy DuPage, and it has been, I think it's going on 4 years. That I've been involved with the organization. It was we're either pre or post, and everybody probably knows what I'm talking about. I was pre. So, and why Literacy DuPage? Again, I love reading, and I just thought it just spoke to me. So let's get going. Mission and vision. I don't have this memorized. I have to come back here. Okay, mission and vision are similar, helping DuPage County, and we do serve all of DuPage County adults, achieving their goals through, and this is, we're going to talk about this more, accessible and customized tutoring. And the goal is to improve their English proficiency, along with reading, writing, and listening skills. That's all part of the process of tutoring. And then vision, if we empower adults living in the community, it is very likely they have family members that will help. And what we really don't know, also in the workplace, and what we really don't know is what overall impact we actually have on the community, but there is that impact. So it really is, even though we may be one-on-one tutoring, we have to keep in mind that we do have a broader impact. History. First tutor-learner pair. Thelma asked her friend Joanna to tutor a family friend from Korea. That was what began Literacy DuPage. And in 1972, that's when Literacy DuPage was started. It was actually started in Wheaton. And the 40-year anniversary was celebrated last year. 50 years, I lost 10 years. I thought that didn't sound right. 50-year anniversary, okay. So I'm guessing 1972 in Naperville, there was an influx from, a number of people were coming in from Asian countries. And I'm thinking that's probably what started the whole concept of Literacy DuPage. Statistics, these are the townships, not the cities, so don't be confused. Almost 925,000, could be more, residents live in DuPage County. Estimated that 1 in 9 people are not proficient in speaking English. And we in a community, and look at that, almost 178,000 individuals are immigrants, and that number continues to grow. And we don't necessarily touch that. We don't see or interact with that population all the time, but it's out there. And Literacy DuPage gives us an opportunity to interact more on a closer basis, a relationship basis. Countries of origin. If you can see the graph on the flags on the lower left, those are the top 10 countries that are most represented, that were most represented when the survey was taken. No surprise at that point in time, the majority was Mexico at 28%. There are quite a few, as you can see, Southern countries, South American countries. And anything in green on the map, we have representation, we just don't have a statistically high enough representation to include that on the map. Income statistics. Oh my, over 55,000 of the participants have low or poverty level incomes. I'm pretty sure I saw that just recently. The median household income in DuPage County is, I think it's 94,000. And then think about this, a learner family of 4, their average income is just under $28,000. And the majority or a lot of our learners, depending upon their role in the family, a lot of our learners have 2 jobs that they're working. Income statistics. As you can see, the survey was done with 200 individuals. And as you can see, the vast majority of the respondents are the left 3 columns, or I guess left 4 columns, other low income, very low income, extremely low income. And then you had 13 respondents who were above low income or had a high median income. What is really cool about this, just because of the different things that I've had the opportunity of doing, as Laurie said, I've met a number of people from all over the world. I've met doctors, lawyers, I met a midwife, and everyone that comes will say, I want to speak English better. And I will tell you, I am very humbled by that because I took French in high school. Oh, like if I had to speak French today, people would be appalled. So having that desire, is fantastic. Education levels, look at this. I mean, the education levels are high. You've got the highest percentage of individuals who are high school diploma and above. So you really do have a lot of highly educated people that are here. The problem is their professional credentials don't transfer. Which is one of the reasons that they would be looking to see if something, they could have someone work with them from Literacy DuPage. Native languages, no surprise, Spanish. I'm guessing that probably is still the highest, most spoken language. But they are just all, as you can see from the graph, they are just all over the place. I think it's 47 different languages that are spoken in the population that Literacy DuPage serves. Learners. Both of these programs are under, I just call it an umbrella. And what we're focusing on today is the ESL, English as a Second Language, the adult basic education, that's classroom. 92% of the individuals in the program are ESL, and 8% fall into the ABE. The ESL folks, as you can tell from what I've already told you, little formal education to highly educated. They want to speak and understand English. They very, very typical when you move someplace and the place you live does not speak your native language. Very typical when you go home at night, you open the door and close it. And conversations within the house are in their home country language. So getting practice speaking English can be challenging. People learn it in the workplace. It's not something they learn or they communicate at home. I did tutor, Maria, she was from a very, very small town in Mexico. She and I were together I think it was almost 3 years. And her family, her son, her daughter, they both graduated from college. Her daughter's teaching now at COD. She wanted them to speak Spanish when they got home. And I'm like, Maria. She's like, well, people speak too fast. And I'm like, Maria, when you're speaking English, you're going like that. And I said, so you can tell your family to slow down. It's okay to tell them that. I also had her daughter put on closed captioning on the TV, which was a huge help. She was watching old movies, and because the old movies, the pronunciation was very distinct, that helped her to feel more comfortable. And then low income family, she had 2 jobs. She pretty much worked 7 days a week. Types of tutoring assignments. We're focusing today on one-to-one tutoring. There is something, the outlier is small group tutoring. And then we'll talk a little bit about conversation groups, but one-to-one tutoring is, as its name implies. And generally it is done at libraries. A lot of people will, in the summer, they may meet up at a park, someplace that's just nice to be outside. And it's a comfortable place to gather. The small group tutoring, that usually occurs when you've got someone in a family that is receiving tutoring and another family member would like to join that individual. That's when you would reach out to staff at Literacy DuPage, such as Laurie, and say, I've got this interest. Is this appropriate? And what they will do is they will figure out whether or not this other individual, they don't want the other individual to bring the primary learner down from a learning standpoint. So they will make the determination whether or not that individual can be included as a group. And then conversation groups, we have conversation groups all over DuPage County. Those are drop-in groups. The focus is intermediate to advanced. They are hosted by libraries. And they are different days of the week. I co-facilitate. I've actually done a conversation group at Lyle. I co-facilitate one at Westmont. This allows people to come in, practice English. We've got one of the guys in our conversation group in Westmont, excuse me, is from China. And we get in that area, we get a lot of people that are working at Fermi. And I had asked him, because his English is good. And he said he was brought over for 2 years. He has a specialty that apparently no one here has. And he said he is doing research. So he doesn't have the opportunity during the day to really have conversation with people. So he wanted to be able to have conversation. It's no judgment. So he and his wife actually come to the group. We've had people from, oh my goodness, all over the world. Right now that group has people from 10 different countries. So that is an opportunity that I've had after tutoring for a while. I love it. A lot of fun. One-to-one, we'll continue with. What is literacy? We had talked about this on the mission. And it is listening, speaking, how we receive information, and then how we convey information or express reading and, speaking and writing. These are all things that when you're doing a tutoring session, hopefully you're able to touch on. When you start out, it's easy to freak yourself out, I will tell you that. But if you think about it, if you pull it back to its basics, say you're gonna have someone, you read a paragraph to your learner, okay? We've already done 2 of the skills. Then the learner reads the paragraph back to you. They're doing 2 skills. And then at the end, you might have a short reading assignment, writing assignment where you put together a couple questions and you just want them to write some answers. So it really is, that is something that it's fairly easy to incorporate into a session with your learner. Accessible training, transportation. DuPage County, I am seeing more PACE buses, I have to say, but that, I used to take the bus in the city and that is totally dependent on traffic and how many people are on the bus time. Work schedule, as I said, Maria, she works multiple jobs. And childcare is not unique to our population. Childcare is just a huge issue in this country. And it is not encouraged to have children with you when you are learning because that distracts the process. Snapshot of the tutoring program, one-on-one. And then the focus, and this is where we start differentiating with this program. The focus is on specific learners, specific needs and life skill goals. No cost to our adults or learners. No cost to our learners or tutors. As I mentioned earlier when we were talking, generally at a library is the primary location. And then sometimes in the park or whatever. No prior teaching or foreign language experience is necessary. And Literacy DuPage, the staff at Literacy DuPage works very hard, trust me, works very hard to match the learners and the tutor schedules. You would get, if you are interested, you'll get an intake packet. It will ask you what days of the week, what time of day. Do you have a preference, male or female? So there's a lot of flexibility in choices. Come on. All right, helping learners reach their life skill goals. In talking to everyone I've talked to, while all 6 of these are important, everyone I've talked to, the top 3, family, health, workplace. Those are the primary goals of the individuals that we're working with. If you have a family, the impetus is because you have to interact with the child at school. And, we know that can be challenging. Also, there is the healthcare community. Good heavens, English is my first language. I've had a couple of years of very intense experience with the medical world. And I will tell you, there have been times that I see their lips moving and I hear the words. And it's like, you're gonna have to explain that one to me again. Because especially specialists, they can just get carried away, shall we say, with their explanations. And workplace, huge goal. When Maria and I first started working together, she wanted to be able to understand what her job entailed. She went from working nights cleaning to working days cleaning, whole different. When she was working nights, people spoke Spanish. When she was working days, it was her and her supervisor. And at the time, the supervisor she had spoke Spanish, but she had to interact with other people in the building. So her goal was to be able to understand what people were saying to her, be able to go to Pam, who was her manager, and ask what the assignment was for the day, and let her know at the end of the day, what she had accomplished. And then also from a workplace standpoint, her weekend job, she works at a banquet hall. And she was a server. She wanted to understand the menu. She would get asked questions about the menu, and she just did not understand how she could respond. So by the time we finished up, she's a very bubbly person. She was very popular at her weekend job. And the thing that really warmed my heart was she was listening to it. There was a conversation in the elevator one day, and she said, teacher? I'm like, yes. She said, I understood what the people in the elevator were talking about. There was like, oh, I started crying. Oh. So that's heartwarming. And you can develop relationships with these individuals. I was invited to her daughter's wedding. Sources of funding. The primary source of funding is the Illinois State Library Secretary of State's office. And the funding this year was $100,000. That's a big old chunk of the budget for Literacy DuPage. You will see there are, and I'm not going to go through all of them, there are a few from Naperville. Naperville has always been, and I know this just because of some other volunteer work I've done, Naperville has always been very supportive of nonprofits that directly serve a purpose in their town. And Literacy DuPage is one of those things. Okay, empowering adults, families, and communities.
We'll skip the video for now and come back to it.
See, this is why I usually don't have time for the video, so apologies, but you're getting everything that is on video. Okay, we're gonna talk about this again because we're gonna go to the website in just a bit, but expectation of tutors. It's 15 hours of virtual training. There's 1 hour of introduction, overall 12 hours of directly focused tutoring training. There is a meet with your cohort group in the middle. And then there is a 1 hour, I'm going to call it a debrief or follow-up session. And those 3 individual 1 hour sessions, those are with staff at Literacy DuPage. The commitment that we ask of tutors, or is asked of tutors, a minimum 6-month commitment. Professional development workshops. Literacy DuPage makes this really easy to do. Attend a minimum of 2 workshops per year, plus peer mentoring groups that meet monthly, which is always nice. You can pop in, some are in person, others are online. You can pop in, hear what other people are doing. I pop in, occasionally, so I don't lose touch. I am currently doing a one-on-one tutoring, but in between, it's nice to know what's going on. Things change out there. And then, professional development. There are, Literacy DuPage has had speakers from medical, from, immigration assistance that qualify as professional development. So even if it's not specifically relevant to who I'm working with or what I'm doing at that moment, I've learned so much. How would we know what's going on in DuPage County if I didn't attend this? So, staff support. Laurie Hoffman is here, our program manager. Those of you that are registered, you have interacted with Anna. She is the intake coordinator, and Anna is the individual, if you choose to want to go forward with the tutoring program, Anna is the one who will get back to you. She will send you a packet of information. And from a question standpoint, she's great at answering questions. If she can't answer it, she'll find somebody who can answer it for you. And then Carol Garcia, she's our tutor support specialist. Carol is awesome. She has been in she has a master's in adult education. She has been working with adults on different levels for so many years. And she's our go-to person if we have, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I need an idea, or I'm stuck on this. So Carol is and she's great. She will always schedule a meeting, and at the end of the meeting, you're good. Resources, new tutor materials. Laurie brought materials that you would receive. Those are on the table. You can't see them, but there are, for those of you online, let me just walk over here and read the titles to you. Teaching adults is one of the resources. And then it's called OPD, Oxford Picture Dictionary. So, and this, this can be helpful. It doesn't matter what the level is. So those two textbooks. And then, monthly newsletters. Carol sends out a great monthly newsletter. There are links to so many informational things. If there's a holiday coming up, she'll have links to different resources for information. There are resources on literacyDuPage.org, but I will tell you, the monthly newsletters are huge from a resource. And then the peer support group, it would be the group that when you have training, that would be one of the groups that could be peer support. Carol would be peer support. There are any number of, if there are questions for things, staff at Literacy DuPage is more than happy to help. And then professional development workshops, which we talked about. Okay, next steps, select a training class to join. Complete and submit the tutor registration packet. If you decide today to join a tutoring session, Anna will send you the information. She'll send it to you tomorrow. And you will complete it and send it back to her. And then depending upon which tutor training program you select, you'll begin training, and you change the life. It just is, it's incredible. So if we could go.
Are there any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm used to people jumping in and asking questions. I apologize.
So you just work with one person at a time, right?
One-on-one.
And the 2-hour minimum per week, is that like one appointment with that person or two, or how do you?
I think it depends.
It depends on the pair. Typically, they meet for 2 hours, and although it sounds like a long time, it really goes fast. Now, your first couple of meetings are meet and greets. You're getting to know one another. So they might be just about 45 minutes, but once you develop a rapport and they have taken the time to come to the library, some of our learners ride their bicycle to the library. So it just works out better, but it's what you determine with your student works out good.
And the first meeting with your student, you'll actually do goals. You'll work with them to do that, and if you work with them long enough, goals change, as they did with Maria and myself. So you definitely have a focus when you get started. Any other questions? Anybody online?
We had someone online who had asked a similar question,
Okay.
is it twice a week for an hour, or is it once a week for 2 hours?
Perfect, okay, thank you. Anybody else? All righty.
And I did want to emphasize, as Noreen mentioned, you're working with them on a life skill. So you don't have to work on ESL and grammar. They're going to be working on this goal that you established. Maybe going to the doctor, maybe attending a parent-teacher conference. So it's a specific goal that you'll be working toward every week.
And that doesn't mean you're not working on grammar, but it's not the absolute focus that you have to write, you have to do all of these procedurally things. Thank you.
Now, Megan, you're going to have to call up our website for the.
Yep, I'll pop over to the website real quick here.
Thank you.
And then you want to go to the training page,
Yes, please.
and then in the drop down, Megan, under volunteer. we'll go
Under
to-
volunteer, yeah.
Let me share this.
We'll wait till Megan gets caught up.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can the tutoring be done online, or does it need to be only in person?
Go ahead, Laurie.
Well, for new tutors, we're asking that you're in person, and you can only meet online now with higher level learners. So it's just because in the beginning, we want you to develop that rapport, get some tutoring skills under your belt. I will tell you that there are pairs that meet hybrid, one week they may meet in person, the next week they will meet online. But in the beginning, we will ask that you meet in person.
I understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? These are all good questions. Okay.
Oh, one more popped up online. Can you start at any time of the year?
Well, yes, and we got to the website and we're just gonna talk about dates that are programs that are currently available. This will be updated, but what you're seeing is, the next program that is open, training that's open is on, here in the blue on the right, is on Monday. That meets from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Now, that time relates to when you will meet with someone from Literacy DuPage. So the 3 dates that you see on the screen for the sessions that begin on Monday night, March 11th, April 1st, April Fool's Day, and April 22nd, those are the 3 1-hour sessions that you'll meet with staff at Literacy DuPage. And then the 12-hour virtual training is being done within that time frame. You will also, at the middle meeting with Literacy DuPage, you will be matched up with your student or your learner, which is a great opportunity because you still have learning that you're doing. And it gives you an opportunity to have a bit of a community around you that you can reach out to. And again, there are a number of resources available. So Literacy DuPage tries to do morning and evening. We do have Saturdays, and that is from sideways. I have to do it over here. 9 to 10. Excuse me. Oh, this is better. 9 to 10. That would be April 6th, April 27th, and May 18th. And then on the lower right, back to Monday nights, 6:30 to 7:30. That was May 13th, June 3rd, and June 24th. The ask is that if you've got travel plans in place, please don't pick one of the programs where you will be out of town. As much as possible, we want to make it so that you're fresh, ready to go, and you can meet up with your student at the end of the program and feel confident. Questions about that? Everybody understand? I usually get questions about this, so please don't hesitate if you got questions.
Are you going to share the presentation with us since we put our emails on the sheet?
Yeah, we'll share the presentation with everybody so you can look at it. We will email that to everyone. Thank you. Other questions? Anyone from our virtual session?
Well, let me see.
So if we decide we want to do this, what's the next step? What would we do first?
If you decide you want to do that, what's the next step? You let us know here today.
Okay.
And we will get the ball rolling for you.
Okay.
Again, there's no charge. Materials are provided. And it really, it's rewarding. It truly is. And to be able to have somebody say, I understood what they were saying. It's like, whoa, that was just like the icing on the top of the cake. Anything else? As I said, your time is important. Yes,
Everything
ma'am.
is virtual, right?
Everything
All
is,
of the training.
all the training is virtual, correct? Yes. Any other questions?
Are the workshops virtual as well, or those? in person?
The workshops,
So we have monthly, are you talking about the monthly peer tutor mentoring workshop?
Well, sure, the workshop requirement that you have to do workshops.
that's educational.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we have both. We offer one on Zoom and one in person every month. And they're not mandatory.
Okay.
We just, we would like you to attend some of them. They're very helpful. You get to meet with peers and tutors, but all of this training is virtual. So our first session is on Zoom. You'll see me again. And then we'll send you off to, we outsource this to a program called Literacy Works. You'll take your modules, your self-paced modules. You'll complete them. We'll meet on the second session. So say if you chose the March one, we'll meet at April 1st. We'll match you with your learner. And so now you're going to begin tutoring with some support. And then we come back and we will discuss some issues, some problems. We always have our tutor support specialist will be on the call as well. So as Noreen had mentioned, we get you started tutoring while you're still in training, because that's when the questions arise, right? So it's pretty important to be able to stick with those dates. You're in a cohort. Every so often life happens, right? And so you start March 11th and then you realize something has come up. If you notify us and we say, would you like to move to the April session, we can move you to the April session. But it's helpful if we can stay with the same cohort because we match you on that second date.
Any other questions? Anyone online that is interested in signing up for a program?
I guess they could reach out to Megan and then Megan will
Yeah.
give us your information. She'll also be sending out a copy of this. You can send that out and then with a link so they could register.
Yeah, anybody who is registered, who, on the Aurora Library website, if you registered for this program to indicate that you're interested, I have your email address. Because that's one of the things we ask when people register. So I'm happy to send that out to people.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Can you do the in-person workshops where they typically located? For the training?
Typically, right now, they're in the Wheaton Library, but we do have intentions of moving them around a little bit. But that's just been the most convenient. Our offices are located in Wheaton.
Other questions? All good. All righty. I very much appreciate your time. Thank you
Thank you.
so very much. And we hope that, you find this a journey that you want to start taking. And it is, again, it's very fulfilling. So thank you all for your time.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.